was really great to see so many fan arts, so many letters, so many fiction, cosplays.
The reactions were fantastic, way beyond our craziest expectations.
It was impossible to expect a huge community like this and so passionate fans, and it's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We started the project by making the game we wanted to make for ourselves, but at the end it's really making a game for the players, because that's what's important.
So welcome to the dev commentary of Life is Strange. We're really happy to be there and talk about the game. Thank you for watching.
Thanks.
I'm Raoul Barbet, one of the co-game director of the game.
And I'm Michel Kor, the other co-game director of the game.
We are two game directors working on one project, so it's really interesting to work that way.
It can be hard sometimes, but I think it's a really interesting creative process, because we can challenge each other on a lot of aspects and find out always the better solution for what's best for the game.
If only Michel or Raoul was directing the game would have been really different. They both know how to make a game. Like they're not stuck in their field of expertise. They know a lot of things about each department, and they had this direct contact with the teams.
I'm more from the audiovisual and movie scene, so I was in charge of all the cameras with the camera team. I work a lot with the sound design team also, with the music.
And myself, since I'm from an illustration background, my specialties were more on the art direction, and later, for this game, I'm starting to work way more with the narrative team and the voice recording sessions.
It was cool because they have a similar vision for the game, so we didn't have a yes from one and a no from the other.
Actually, Michel and Raoul are in the game when you think about it, because there are two game directors, so we have a contraction which is Michel. But if you put it the other way around, it's Raoul and Michel, so it's Rachel. And I'm pretty sure they did it on purpose.
The idea behind the game was because both of us worked on Remember Me, and there were some sequences in this game called Memory Remixes, and one of the founders, Hervé Bonin, asked this small core team to think about a game with this kind of mechanism. Very quickly came the episodic adventure game, because we wanted really to do something like that.
There is really a lot of good ways interactive ways to tell stories.
On an episodic format, you have to make a lot of choice for episode 1, because you won't be able to change after. A lot of assets have to be there in episode 1. Yeah. So the menu is one of those assets.
It was interesting because there was a lot of variations. We did a lot of tries of what we wanted to show in this menu. The idea was really to basically show the most important locations of the game. So we can see the Blackwell Academy on the top right, we can see the lighthouse, we can see the town of Arcadia Bay. We were really trying to give a sense of location and just showing like the game world with the menu.
We really wanted to make the player feel that all areas are connected, and the menu is a great way to do that.
One of the main importance for us for the game was to have a peaceful game with this sense of you can take your time, and we wanted to reflect that from the menu, so we worked on those small wind effects and the leaves that are going around and the nice and soft music. It was just when you start the game you should feel quite at peace and comfortable. And even when the menu evolves in each episode, there is some small details that are changing. Like for the menu for episode 4, you have the beach whaled. That's this kind of details we wanted to just add with the variations of the menu. The game takes place in Oregon, in the Pacific Northwest, in the United States. When I went back there on vacations, I've seen a lot of places that really looks like what we did in the game. So I guess it was a really big that everything was correct, but it's also something that's really exciting about making a game, that you have to look at everything and to reproduce reality, and with of course our own lens and stylizations, but we really wanted this to feel like being in Oregon. Sometimes people ask us if we choose to have a game in the United States for marketing, for selling the game. We knew that we were fans of like TV shows like Twin Peaks or X-Files. They have those trees and the Pacific Northwest feeling.
I think they are a great example of a small community thinking that everybody know each other and everybody is happy, but when you put something inside this community, it could be something supernatural. You discover a lot more.
And it's really a way to shift things around and to bring chaos and interesting variations on the characters. And in the end, Life is Strange is really a game and a story about the characters, about their lives. It's not a story about the sci-fi elements. The sci-fi elements are just for us. They were just here to make things interesting. Okay, so let's play the game and
Yeah, let's play Life is Strange. So this is the very beginning of the game. I think this is one of the very difficult sequence of the beginning of the production because this is the first time the player will see what the game looks like and will be inside the story. So we got a lot of discussion about this one and a lot of discussion about the shots, how we are going to present Mac's character. The important, as this is a video game, is the player to know where he has to go and the objective of each scene. This scene is a link to the end of the game, of course, and it's also to close the loop and begin with this scene. And when you know the end of the game was something we really wanted to have, so we can see all the FX, and we've got one FX artist, very talented, Thomas. Here you can see a lot of his work, all the particles, the tornado.
We took a lot of time to work on this tornado because when you're working on an episodic game, it's important to still hook the player from episode 1. So that's the kind of discussion we had about the reason to when should we put something that has a bit more impact and that feels something that shows the player that there is something bigger. So this introduction was a bit like that. We wanted in Life is Strange the player to always know what Max is knowing and to just be with her. At this moment, Max doesn't know where she is and the player doesn't know it either. We're back to the high school, and which is one of the most important settings of the game, of course, the high school setting and the Blackwell Academy. High school is something where the player will feel comfortable because he knows it, but the transition from the cliff to there is the twist of having something really different, and that should hook the player to say, oh, it's not just a teen story, there is more to it. And then, of course, we can go much over than that and twist it and change the characters. But it was an interesting starting point creatively.
This kind of introduction is really important because in one sequence with some shots you have to discover all the different characters, the main ones, so you will see of course Jefferson, Kate and Victoria.
And it was quite hard to decide between not showing too much, to not break the idea of the game, to not be too big compared to what the game would be after. There is a lot of themes of big ideas on the game, and of course photography is one of it, because photography is still a way to look back to the past. It's linked to the theme of rewind and time manipulation and nostalgia, and that's one of the reasons why Max came back to Arcadia Bay to attend this photography class.
I think for the player to be like Max back in this town when she don't know everyone, but you've got to respect the schedule. It's really, as a player, something great to discover. Also, the lighting was really important in this scene to break the cliff ambience by this sunny atmosphere and all this light coming from the windows.
And maybe we decided to have a private high school rather than just a regular high school for the photography course. But it was also to be able to have less students because we wanted the story to be a bit more intimate. We didn't want it to be like this huge high school with so many students. But based on what the player is doing, you can really learn more about them and see that they're actually not just the stereotype and the archetype you would think they are. This is still a perfect example of how episodic is hard, because if you look closely at this poster, there is a mistake on it. It says that the exhibition takes place in the De Young Museum of Art, when actually it's not that in episode 5, it's the Zeitgeist Gallery. We have a really great community, so thank you guys. And yes, it is a mistake. It's when in episode 5 we found out that it couldn't be a museum. It was too big, so it has to be an art gallery. So we changed the name, and yes, there is a mistake like this in episode 1.
How cute I looked yet.
I was about to.
Welcome to the real world.
We really wanted to have this feeling of being part of a whole high school. So it means a lot of people, it means bullying, it means difficulties when you're a teenager in this kind of world.
And showing the different cliques and different kind of teenager.
I think a lot of players love this introduction. The use of music here is really important. Is as Max feels insecure in this atmosphere, we wanted her to isolate, and the music is a great way of isolate yourself when you just want to be on your own. And so since the beginning of the game we were working with licensed tracks, licensed music. We test when we are testing and prototype some scenes, we put some licensed tracks from artists we love, and Sin Matters was one of them. And when we asked Jonathan Morali, who is the lead of Sin Matters, if it's possible to use his music, he's a gamer, so it was really happy to have this new experience, and for us it's just incredible to work with him. And this kind of editing is really, really difficult to do, because you have to choose the important moment in a song and to choose the right images.
Because our writer Jean-Luc has written many scenes built around music. The edit is based on the music. It's not the other way.
The music is really important in the game. It explains a lot about the characters, because the choice of the music, the choice of the artist means a lot. For example, Chloe won't listen to the same artist as Max. For the anecdote, for this guitar part, we asked the lead singer of Sin Matters to take his guitar and to play on top of Gonzalez's song in a clumsy way, to be sure that it would be like Max playing guitar. Okay, so the objective of this scene was to go into the bathroom. I think you can hear the great sound work. Sebastian, the audio lead, has worked a lot on this kind of effects. When you take out your earplug, you can hear more the ambience. And this kind of art is done by our main concept artist. We got like 4 concept artists working on the game, with Edouard, who has made a lot of artwork.
He was the one
concept artist.
So basically in the beginning we do a lot of documentation, like we do a lot of research. From all those pictures we can find on the internet, every room, every character needs to tell you a story, who they are, what they do.
And just for following the scene, even for the mood, when it's still the rhythm of the game. So we wanted this scene in the bathroom to have a really cold and harsher and more contrasty lighting, to be different from the soft and warm lighting from the art class before.
Seeing this scene, there was here one of the mistakes we have done with the game. For example, when Max is tearing apart the Polaroid. In fact, I don't know if you have tried to tear apart a Polaroid, but it's quite impossible.
Yeah, you can. We tried it. You can't do it. It's too strong. It's plastic, and it's impossible to tear it like she does.
But of course, there is a lot of symbolic behind this, and so we decided to keep it, even if it's non-realistic. Maybe it's a bad Polaroid quality, and we can do it. So you can see the butterfly coming in from the window. Of course, there's a lot of symbol behind this. The butterfly, of course, with all the butterfly effects thing, and the fact that Chloe has got
some butterflies on her tattoo, and the color of her hair based on the color of the butterfly.
Really something we wanted to hear. The blue butterfly is really, really important, and of course at the end of the game it's much more important.
One of the fans' favorite, and of course a character we really love, Chloe. She's She's one of the most important characters because at the end the choice is about her. It was really important to create this character the best way possible so the player would learn to care more and more about her. But we really wanted her to be not that nice at the beginning, so when she's evolving during the different episodes and she's getting nicer to Max, people would care even more about her because she changed and she likes the fact that she changed. If she was the nicest person from the beginning, it wouldn't be, I think, as effective that her going forward and changing toward Max.
Sometimes some players hated Chloe during the first episode, and I think it's not a bad thing because you can dislike a lot of things about her personality. And after in episode 3, and of course at the beginning of episode 4, there is really something more to this character, and I think it's like having in real life with a friend. There is always some things you don't like. And the relation between Max and Chloe talk about that, and I think it's really interesting to see how the player will learn to like more and more Chloe. And
I think it was one of the biggest challenge of the writing process because we have 5 episodes, we have a limited amount of time, and we need to find the good beats and the good pacing to make those characters evolve.
It's a really intimate story, and it's mostly just centered on just emotional moments. All of the major choices that you make in the game are emotional. The heart of it is the relationship between Max and Chloe. It gets really dark and things get really hard for Chloe and really emotional.
In the game, one of our goals was also to be able to talk about real life issues, about some social themes and themes that can be experienced in real life. I mean, it's different to other games where there are bigger issues like a situation of life or death or war or stuff like that. And in this game, we wanted really to focus on more human issues on a smaller level.
The mood of the game and the themes of the game. It's the themes that we tackle in the game are not something that you see often in other games. We try to be mature about it. We try not to force it onto players, and we try not to be too brutal about it.
We have issues like domestic violence, family issues.
So talk about drugs, alcoholism, depression. It's part of a reality, and I think it was really important for us to not avoid that. And I think it's a great video game is also a great media to talk about that, because as a player you will be involved maybe more than just looking at a movie or reading a book. You will be really part and actor of this experience.
We were not sure that Square Enix, the publisher, would approve all the themes, the intense scenes we have, and how we deal with them. And really early in the discussions, we were relieved to see that they didn't want to change anything. They just wanted to make sure that we deal properly with the scenes or themes, and this is exactly what were our intentions. So
it's again a key scene for episode 1. It's the first time you see Nathan and Chloe. First scene with the character is really, really important. We got a lot of information to give to the player. And
we needed to show that Nathan was quite a troubled child, a teenager, I mean. So this is him talking to himself at the beginning. We had to fine-tune and to find the good words to use. Then we see Chloe for the first time. We have to show what's her character. So she's direct and a bit pushy to Nathan. We need still to understand what's happening. So they're talking about money, about drugs. We had to find the right hints to give to explain things. So we don't want to lose the player.
Nathan Prescott is a punk ass who begs like a little girl and talks to himself.
You don't know who the fuck I am or who you're messing around with.
Where'd you get that? What are you doing? Come on, put that thing down!
Don't ever tell me what to do. I'm so sick of people trying to control me!
You are going to get in hella more trouble for this than drugs.
This is the starting point of Max discovering that she has this weird power, because basically this adrenaline rush and looking at Chloe getting shot. That's how she can trigger that for the first time, and she don't know really why, but that's the seriousness of the situation. Then you go back in the art class. So we really tried on this scene to show the deja vu feeling. So the editing and the shots were there to give this weird feeling to the player that, okay, I'm living that again and again, looking at the different moments that the player saw the first time in this scene.
So yeah, for the editing in this sequence, we wanted to keep the same elements, but not necessarily the same shots. You can see that first 3 shots are the same, I think, and after we begin to change a little the point of view. So you understand that there are the same events going on, but just seeing from a different point of view. And
I think, to be perfectly honest, we don't have a good explanation for why she's going back to the art class, because we needed it.
I've got one, but I will never tell you.
I don't think it's a mistake, because we also needed to explain to the player so the player can learn how things are working, and it's quite hard to do. So we took this freedom to have Max go back to the art class, which, even if it's a bit contradictory with how her power works after that. We are using this to explore more of Max's personality, of the characters, and because that's the way we created the character. Max, as we've seen that with what she's thinking. She has a lot of insecurity. She has issues to go forward in her life, to take decisions. And now she has this ability to not going forward, but going even backward. So it's an interesting storytelling device to question with her character and with the player, of course, to question choice and consequences, to question fate, to question really interesting issues.
I think Max would never have changed as much as here in our story without this power and without this sci-fi element. So it puts the player in a very interesting position, because she will ask himself why he's doing some interaction. He can undo the interaction and try something else, but also Max, by doing this, will ask herself, am I doing the right decision? Is it the good choice or not? So we deconstruct the mechanism of classic adventure game just by adding this power and the fact that you can undo things and try another things.
Of course, in most games, you can do it with quick save, quick load, but it's like you said, it's only the player who do that, and that's one of the main themes of the games. That if I had the power to rewind and to change things, should I do it? Because sometimes it can be really seen as lying, as if I say a lot of things that you don't like, and if I go back in time and don't say them to try to, so you're not angry at me, it's a bit tricking. So we are really asking those questions, and in the beginning of the game, we are letting the player and Max do it a lot. She's getting to make a lot of friends with this rewind. But later in the game, and especially in episode 5, we are really questioning this to see maybe it wasn't the right thing. Maybe what you did to try to lie to people with your power, was it really good? And that's something that can be interesting for the story, but also to ask the player at a moment.
I think this is what we wanted to do also with this game, to show that it's difficult to make the choice, and it's even more difficult to live with it, but you have to learn to do that.
And even if you could hesitate a lot, there is no perfect way to do things.
Okay, if I'm crazy, I might as well go all the way. Can I actually reverse time?
So that's basically that the first time the player will actively rewind. So we have Max thinking that, okay, I just got back in time. I'm in the art class, and so that's why we made her break her camera, because we needed to have an element that the player will see that we will rewind. So we can really explain how do you rewind. So Max broke her camera, and then she's thinking, okay, if I got back in time, maybe I can try to do it again and revert that. So that's the first real rewind the player is actively doing. It's okay. We don't really want the players to use the rewind all the time. But since it's important in the beginning of the game to really show the player the tools he have, and it was important for us to have this in this scene, to have a lot of use of the rewind, so he can really, okay, I know how it is now, and now I decide if I use it or not.
I hope I have enough time to get to the bathroom. Please, please. I can't tell anybody. They'll think I'm crazy.
Since we are really playing the game with the point of view of Max, for her, not everything is clear, so it shouldn't be clear for the player. So, but there is a lot of hints that should really guide the players to understand what's happening. We have a lot of symbolism with totem spirit animals. We have the doe, and you can clearly see in episode 4 that the doe is linked to Rachel, and it's basically somehow a presence of Rachel that's guiding Max at moments. I'm not sure that a lot of players notice that, but in episode 2 actually, when you see the doe in the junkyard, it's precisely where Rachel is buried. There is this mystic feeling around the town, and since we didn't want to clearly explain everything, it's part of what makes Arcadia Bay a bit different and a bit special.
So yeah, we're going to play a bit of the junkyard scene.
Yes,
so it's we love the junkyard scene because a lot of different elements, but the first one I think is the environment. I think the environment artists have made something incredible here.
For Life is Strange, we really wanted to have a stylized rendering. We didn't want it to be realistic, or so every texture has been hand painted to give this impressionistic feeling. And I think in the junkyard it's really interesting because there is so many details that's where this kind of simpler texture are working well. Because if this scene was overly detailed with cracks in the rust and everything, it would become really noisy to look at. We did a lot of work on the lighting effects and the atmosphere, so it was really important for us to capture this morning feeling with very, very cold colors in the fog, but a slightly warm sun that just bring some soft and warm feeling to the scene.
This scene is also a good example of what we want to do in terms of environmental storytelling. We've got a lot of different objects who are there and who has their own story. And
Okay, let's do this. Can you find 5 bottles while I prep the shooting range?
Beer and guns? Nice combo.
You can handle it. Now go find us 5 bottles.
This is one of the best puzzles of the game, I think.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's mostly the final bottle that was really hard to find, and we did a mistake on it because it was maybe too well hidden. Our goal for this was just to allow the player, to push the player to visit the place while looking for those bottles, because there is a lot of interesting things to discover. Basically, the junkyard is where Chloe brought Max to try her power, but it's also where Chloe and Rachel were hanging out together before Rachel disappeared. So this place here was this small hideout for Chloe and Rachel, and we tried a lot of what we did in the whole game with the environmental storytelling can be seen here, because there is a lot of everything that we really like to tell with the environment. It's a good way to, of course, to show more to the player. So it's
also to give rewards to the player who want to know more about the characters and who is curious. Because you can do this whole scene without looking at every details, but
there is some hidden stuff. This one is harder to find. I think that not every player find it. And this is a big letter that Rachel wanted to write to Chloe and maybe never gave it to her. In Life is Strange, we really tried to put a lot of attention to the details. So we have a lot of various levels of things, and if you look around, you can find some really, really small details that are useless to the main story, but interesting.
Actually, we start to play with that, putting more and more things in corner, in dark area, to see if the player can spot it or not. And usually they did.
There's a noticed things that we thought they could not notice, like on a shirt. We have letters that when you put in the right order, it says no fucks given, and they noticed.
I don't know about this.
Are you afraid of getting in trouble? Oh, boo-hoo, Max is afraid. I know you can handle this, and I'm here to guide you. Make me proud, sister.
Life is Strange is a game about choice and consequences. So we have a lot of choice you can make in the game, which will have consequences later on in the same episode or in the other episode. And there is one big choice in this scene, right, that will happen, for example.
Yeah, the idea for each choice is really to have not easy choice to take, even if it's not life or and death choice. Like you could have another game, or it's more everyday life choices. The important is really to make your own and to decide to live with it. So that's why with the max power, it's of course more difficult because you can try a choice. You're not sure, you're going to rewind and you're going to make the other one. But the important is if you want to continue and to move on, you have to keep on one and live with the consequence. So this is in this choice in particular. What do you want to do, Michel? The first one.
I don't think I would shoot a guy anyway, so I would say.
We won't shoot.
I won't shoot.
So you can see directly some consequence. It means that you don't have gun anymore because Frank is going to take it. Chloe will be pissed off.
You can of course rewind and try the other one. But something that's really interesting, because it was a lot of work at the beginning, because we were thinking that if you have the rewind, does it not completely destroy the fact that you are making choices? And actually, we've seen that players are really hesitating. We've watched some Let's Play video, and we've seen players just, even if they knew that they could go back, they were hesitating so much when they make a choice. I think it's interesting.
Here will be out of the campus for the first time for the player. So this is the first time the player will be able to use his power when he wants. He can do before, but there was no so many interaction and puzzles. Here there was we really wanted to have a lot of different things to do, talk with people, use the power just to see fun stuff.
But we use this kind of environment for the players who like to take their time and just to talk to characters, to look around. It really gives a sense of presence to Max, to the world.
The important aspect of the game is really to give some rewards to the player who want to do that and want to take his time. So with this kind of sequences, for example, we give what we call a reward, but in fact it's just new element of the game. For example, here you will have new layer of music. You can hear some new layer of music. You will have all those camera shots that you can't have inside the classic walkthrough and classic gameplay in third person. So this kind of beautiful shots you have only because you have chosen to take your time and to sit on the fountain. So the music, the shots, and of course the voiceover of Max also at the beginning. We hear what Max is thinking just here. So this kind of rewards will push, we think, the player to do that again and again. So this is really something we wanted to have.
In this game, it's always feeling a bit like what Max is feeling, and it was we really wanted to focus on those moments. It was really capturing the moment when you can really take your time to reflect on yourself, and that's what Max is doing in those scenes. That's something that not a lot of games are doing, to let the player take his time, because in a lot of games it's just like you need to go forward, you need to go to this checkpoint, you need to do this and this.
Since the beginning, we wanted the rewind to be a tool that the player can use when he wants, where he wants. It won't be scripted rewind sequence, for example. On a technical point of view, you have to record all the different things that happens in the scene.
Since you can rewind time, you can basically be at any part of the scene at any moment you like. Designing puzzles with the rewind was very hard. When you think it's done, you think you've seen everything about it, you think the situation is in place and is going to be working well. There's always this tiny little thing that's fucking it up.
Those elements are not really deterministic, so when you rewind, you're not sure that you will be able to restore the particle system in the same state.
Seriously, do not forget I need those papers before tonight. Like now. Thanks, Sherry.
And this is the dormitories. This is also something that was interesting for us, is to talk about dorm life. So we wanted to use this setting because we can really talk about social issues, like the girls have their room. Do you really like the people who live next to you? How the relationship are working inside the dormitory? Like right now, it's interesting if you have different music that can come from the different rooms. It's a really interesting setting to set up a lot of characters easily.
Here the idea is really to again have this believable universe of the students. We have to focus on what we want to tell and what we want to develop.
In each episode, Alyssa is getting hit or in danger by something, and you can decide or not to use the rewind power to warn her and to get her out of trouble.
And again, I think it's links to also the Kate story and this kind of stuff. It's not just here to have fun. It's also to talk about those difficulties you can have when you could be someone like Alyssa and having this kind of problems.
And it's always a way to find the little details and little elements that will bring more to the characters, how we are defining them, without sometimes...
So this is the same actress as Chloe.
Yeah,
the two main actresses who are playing Max and Chloe did also the other students, and so there is some of Chloe inside each one of them. You can see Max and Chloe here. The body animation is done in motion capture on this project. We've done a lot of shooting in motion capture with French companies. The two main, so Max and Chloe, like for the voice actor, in fact, they are always played by the same actress. Serena and Gabrielle. So all the body language and the body animation you will see in the game are done by them. And so in each scene we discuss about the scene with them, and they add some. Both of them, they have given something to the character, even for Max, because Serena was a bit shy at the beginning of the project, and at the end of the project she was different, and we can see the evolution of Max inside her acting. So
Who did you tell?
The principal. But he didn't seem to believe me.
The principal? Are you still 12? That drunk jackass only cares about cash for Blackwell Academy. Don't trust him.
I didn't mention you at all.
This is the first time we will really see the Max universe by discovering her room. So let's go inside.
It was a really important scene for us because you're playing as Max in the game, so you already start to know some about her with what happened before in episode 1. But when you enter her room, it's really her universe. It's everything in this room should describe her, who she is, why she is like this, and speak a bit more about her past.
There's quite a lot in this room, in fact, compared to the... Because we tried, I think, episode after episode also to focus on different things, and we can't put too many objects in a room.
If you want to play a character for 5 episodes, you need to invest in this character, and all those kind of details and were really important to make a connection between the player and Max, to learn a bit more about what she experienced before, and maybe also why she is how she is right now. Something we really wanted to have with Max's room is also to have a great contrast between Max and Chloe. So it was really important to have those two characters. Max and Chloe are really different. They are quite opposite at the beginning of the story. So we wanted that her personality and also her universe, her rooms reflect that. And we took for Max this sort of softer colors. We have the pink in, I think her bed cover is really, really soft. You have the small cushions with the flowers, the teddy bear.
We've got a lot of different environments in the game, but we wanted really to be able to revisit the environments and to have other scenes taking place in the same environments, but telling different stories and telling different sequences. So, for example, in this room, when you go back here in the house, in the alternate reality, we will find an empty room of an empty Chloe room, and you have been here so many times before the episode 4 with Chloe, having fun with Chloe, listening to music. Going back here without anything, you will directly see what you've lost and what this another reality means for Chloe and for you.
Max, try to find the light for the pool. I want to see the sharks.
Otters don't like sharks.
They bite. So do I. Hit that light.
We've done the same with the swimming pool, for example. We've got a great scene in the swimming pool between Max and Chloe when they are alone during the night, and after you got this huge vortex party, which is a really different atmosphere. So this is kind of...
On the production point of view, it's basically a brand new environment, but it's still in the same place and with a lot of similarities. So it's really important to show. It was important for us to show the changes that Max can create with her power and the changes to the characters and to the world.
Stop treating me and my mom like we're your family platoon!
Hey! Leave Joyce out of this!
I wish you'd leave Joyce! Like now!
Seeing this kind of family violence, and it's something you can have encountered as a player. I think we all know some people who got some difficulties, and you can have by yourself also. Here, the choice you're going to take will have consequences on the relation between Max and Chloe, but also on her father.
Hey, you okay?
Welcome to the real step douches of Arcadia Bay.
I'm sorry.
For what? He would have been a bigger dick if he caught you in here.
David could seem very archetypal.
Yes,
and,
again, one dimension at the beginning, but then we are making
episode after episode, you can see that maybe he's very he's got his own reason to be like this.
And I think not at any moment we are justifying the fact that he could hit Chloe or be how it is, but just showing a perspective that not everything is black or white. So we did a lot of research to be sure that we were dealing with those themes in a good way. Too much gamifying this, we could really maybe hurt some people. And if we are talking about issues those people have had and not making it right, it could be worse, and it couldn't be the opposite of what we wanted to do at first.
So here is a Kate character that you have met in the first episode, but not so much. And the episode 2 is really focused on Kate and Kate's story and Kate's difficulties. So,
but this scene is a good way again to how we try to advance the story about Kate, but also try to show more of the other characters, Victoria and Taylor. So we are continuing of what was shown about Victoria in episode 1, like of course that she's really a mean person, that she's harassing Kate because she makes fun of her.
Looks like it.
And so this kind of scene, yes, is we are really trying to advance the story, bring out more of the characters, and of course there is great cameras on it.
All over my face. Max Selfie thought she was a badass taking that picture.
We wanted really to talk about all the cyberbullying, the fact that it's quite difficult for a teenager nowadays to be connected as everyone is now. I think everyone has got a phone, is connected always.
We are using the text message a lot, and we are making fun with that. So we are really thinking about both sides of the social media.
But on the other hand, you've got this dark aspect of internet, which could be really difficult to live. I think a lot of players could recognize some of them inside Kate, and we've received a lot of letters from players who say that helped us also to realize what they've been through. Yeah, we wanted to have this scene since the beginning. We are quite happy that we managed to keep it, and work with Square Enix was great for that. We managed to keep a lot of difficult scenes like this one. It's not only about talking about the themes, it's also to be sure that it's anchored inside our story. And here, of course, this experience and the Kate story will push Max to think about her power, to think about the consequences, to think about the relation with other characters.
That's actually the one time in the game where Max's power fails her. So when you arrive on the roof, you are really by yourself. You have to talk Kate out of jumping, and this was also the second part of what we wanted to do with this theme, is to show that if you care to the people you like, you can help them, and that's basically what Max has to do at this moment, is really to care about Kate, to show her that she knows her, that she's her friend, and to really take out of jumping. I think that's something that was interesting on writing all these scenes, and is even in episode 1, you know, Kate was written as somehow as some type of archetype. She's a bit religious. She's for abstinence. She has this basically pro-life ideas. So maybe some of the players could think that she's boring character, but the way we evolved her and write her in the other episode, we really wanted to show that even if you go past the first appearance of someone, that's something that you might feel not interesting or different to you, you can find really good things and interesting things in each person. And I was really happy the way that the community reacted to Kate as a character.
We didn't want to gamify this kind of scene.
We still have to have rules for how the things, even if it needs to be really in the background and for the player to see those rules. But in the end, we still need to create the scene with the scripting and a way to make it work. So it was really hard to find the good balance to make it feel the more transparent as possible for the player, and just find a good way to have the feeling that it's really a dialogue between Max and Kate. And it was a really hard one to write. There is a lot of branches, there's a lot of variations, and I think even in the voice recording it took a really long time. Yeah. It was one full session just for Hannah and Diane, who plays Kate. It was really important for us to keep this going after in the other episode, and not just we have done the scene and so no, we go to the following of the game.
I'm going to be here for another day until my family comes out to visit.
How are they treating you?
Like they need to protect me forever. They're so upset, and I know they feel guilty even though they didn't do anything. I was surprised how many
we wanted
from
to talk about this theme of euthanasia, but to find a way to talk about it that would be respectful for any sort of position. Because it was really important to not try to say this is right, this is wrong, and to let the player really see how he wants to play this scene at this moment based on what he felt for the situations, for Chloe, for her parents and everything. And that was that was not easy to find this balance when doing that.
And again, it's because it's interactive and it's a video game that this scene is so strong, I think. If you just see a scene and just, this is the director point of view and that's it, I accept it or not, but here it will be your choice. You really have to take your time and think about it before making your choice. So,
and we've seen all kind of reactions. We've seen players who immediately say, no, I can't do it. Or other players who immediately accept what Chloe is asking. Of course, it's Chloe, I'm accepting. And a lot of others who are hesitating for 5-10 minutes or so. And I think that we've been, I like that we did that, but we've been a bit mean to the player because we give them a third choice of maybe I cannot take any choice on this, but then you have still to take a choice. Yeah. But I think it was stronger because it was what we wanted to do. To take responsibility for your actions and decide something. You cannot get an easy way out. We took a lot of photographs, even some of the no weapons, the no bullying, no weapon. Yeah. We took photographs in some high school in. It wasn't in Oregon, but it was near Washington, so it's still in the Pacific Northwest, near Seattle. And we took some of those, we just adapted some of those posters. And even for example, like this for the map, we did a lot of research, finding real maps of real buildings and trying to be quite precise with the scale, the layout, the locations, because we really wanted everything to feel genuine and to. Sometimes you can go really wrong in a game if you just start to forget about the scale and the detail. So we really wanted to have things right, like having this kind of fire hose at this place. And since the game takes place in October, and we are in the US, there is already a lot of Halloween decorations and stuff like that. We wanted to have the game at the anchor in reality, but also of course, we have a lot of references. We are huge fan of some TV shows, of books, of movies. And I think that in Life is Strange, the setting was really good to have a lot of those Easter eggs that will speak to the players and put the game into a pop culture reality. So there is a lot of stuff that is scattered around the game. If you look at every license plate in the game, you'll see that the letters, they are meaning some. In episode 1 is titles of TV shows that somehow we liked or that were somehow inspiration in some part for the game. In episode 2, it's movies. In the dormitories, you have the room which Red Rum. Someone wrote Red Rum on the slate.
It's the number of the room in Shining.
Yes, and so it shows that we love us as developers the movie, but also that the characters in the game, of course, know about this movie because it exists in their real world and they are making jokes about it.
We knew that we had to hire an American scriptwriter. We sent some tests to few writers that were recommended and we knew. And Christian Devine, we had a Skype with Christian. After maybe 2 minutes, we all knew that it was going to be him. I had this kind of vision of him in the office, working with us.
Since we've chosen him, he was at 100% and even 200% in the project. With us, he completely understood what we want to do with the characters and with the story and with the different themes we wanted to talk about. During the motion capture session, we asked the actor and the actress to when they meet, Max and Warren meet the first time here on the parking lot, we asked them, they were trying to kiss themselves, but you can't do that in the United States. In fact, as French, we were thinking that, it's cool, they are going to kiss themselves. Warren tried to kiss Max,
to kiss Max on the cheek.
We've never done that, so we changed after a discussion with a writer and a lot of friends. We said, okay, we should switch to a hug. So we changed the animation to have just Warren try to hug Max and not kiss her. And this is a kind of mistake we can do as French people. So we have to be very careful about that.
And it was really good
because in France you can.
In
say
France,
hello by kissing a girl like
hello
this,
by
but
just having a peek on the cheek, and not in the US. And this is the kind of stuff where having an American writer was really needed. We made some other mistakes, like on this parking at the beginning, we had the parking spots which were really small, and Christian said to us that this is not American parking spots. In the US, you have large parking spots because we have big cars, so we changed that. And we did that for various things, like sometimes a sign were not at the right position or something that was not perfectly true to reality.
So, Chloe's house. This is the very, very first scene we've made for the game. So this is really the scene that we have modified a lot to create Life is Strange.
This is also the scene with which we sold the game to Square Enix. That's the scene we showed to publisher.
The first time I tried the game, it was the Chloe's Room, a really early prototype, and it felt fantastic to play it. I was literally smiling while playing it because the scene was working really great already. Even though the environment, the characters were not final, it was really, really good to play.
And we decided to use this scene because every mechanism is here, but there's also a scene that shows really what Life is Strange is, because it's a story about those two girls trying to reconnect. We had the two main characters. We had strong issues with what happened with David later. So we have the environmental storytelling when you're visiting a different part of the house. We have Zen sequence. It had the feeling that we really wanted to push for the game. This slow-paced, nostalgic feeling. I think that this scene is really a really good one to show that in episode 1.
At the beginning, it wasn't exactly like that. We got different outcomes, and so the scene that is in the game now is really different from the very first prototype. At the very beginning, it was only the arguing with David we have done in motion capture, and I've played with Jean-Luc, so Jean-Luc...
You were doing Chloe.
Yeah, I was playing Chloe and Jean-Luc were playing... No, I was playing David. And Jean-Luc is a great writer who has written the original story. So we have played all together because we didn't want to we didn't add the money.
Yeah.
In fact, to
It was
have
just-
a optic motion capture shooting, so
Just to
we
show
try
working
by
prototype.
ourselves
And I
to
remember
have animation for the prototype, and the animation is quite ugly. The characters also are
Oh yeah, the
ugly.
first version were ugly, and there were at the beginning no textures. We had version
Yeah.
with only the grey characters. We were really weird without hair, so we had a hairless Chloe. for
And
the
I think
test.
Max is quite frightening. The smoke and all the FX elements, they are made following the same idea as non-realistic, but like it looks like undrawn smoke a little.
Yeah,
But it's really really beautiful, and our FX artist has made a lot of FX like this. We can see also the wind outside.
The wind effect.
The wind effect are really beautiful.
And we tried to be as close as possible of the concept art. Like, ideally, the game, we wanted it to look like some sort of animated concept art. And I think it's really, the 3D environment artist and the concept artist, they did a really great job on that, because if you look at the concept art for this room and the 3D final scene, it's quite pretty close. We have those low detail textures, but this feeling of light but it's a lot of details that we tried everywhere. Even if the lighting, if you look just at the light on the drawer, even on the light we have this small bending that gives the feeling that the light is hand painted. So we did a lot of work on everything, on lighting, visual effects, textures, to have this cohesive style. And sometimes the player might not completely notice it, but it still gives this cohesion to the game.
Like, for example, for the Chloe's house, how rich Chloe's parents are, so what kind of house they can afford. So this get painted. In concept art, we do like every room, or even the map, the floor map. In Max's rooms, there's a lot of photos on the wall, because she likes to take photos, and you get like the bands, poster of bands, which she like. You have to feel like who they are, and, just by looking at the room.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most challenging part of working on the game with an episodic format was to create those two characters in a way that would really appeal to the player. So when you arrive to this final choice at the end of episode 5, if you wanted this final choice to work, we really needed the player to grow to love Chloe, to really get attached to Chloe. So two of the biggest challenge was, of course, the writing and the voice acting to make that happen.
Of course, the story was written as a whole since the beginning, so we couldn't change massive stuff, but small details could be added. A line of dialogue for a character, or episode 3 when you visit Kate in the hospital, and it wasn't supposed to be here, but we've seen how people loved Kate. And we realized how much it was important to have a scene like this one.
It's a way of finding the voice of the character. So sometimes you just need to think about expressions or words that one character will use and the other won't use it. And that's how you grow to like those characters. Because when in episode 3 or 4, Chloe at the moment uses the word Hela, the players were waiting sometimes for it, and they recognize that, okay, it's Chloe because she's using that.
So we're working with Blind Light in Los Angeles, and they sent us a lot of different voices to listen to them, and we have to decide. So we decided with Michel, Sebastian, and the producer, and Square, which one we want. So it was quite difficult. For example, for Max, we've got like 40, I think.
Yes, I guess we got 40
voices.
different castings.
For Chloe, it was 30, I think, something like that.
Most of the time, we were quite sure and quite agreeing on the actor. It was really, really hard for Max, because it's always on our mind, like, are we really sure that we are doing the good choice? Because it's so important. I don't know the number of lines she has in the game, but it's almost, I think that there is almost 14,000 lines in the game, and I think that more than 10,000 are from Max.
I've never played a character that I related to so much. I have a lot of the same issues that she does with her confidence, and so getting to play someone that seemed so similar to me was really an extraordinary experience. I really feel like I'm growing with her.
We'll help you. Just let me go and...
The fun story is for Jefferson. The guy we choose is Derek Phillips, and after we choose him, I discovered that he was Derek Phillips, and he's actually playing one of the main recurring character in the show Friday Night Lights, which is one of my favorite TV shows.
Well, this has just been really fun for me, especially coming from the standpoint where, when I auditioned for the role, I wasn't sure if Jefferson was going to be the bad guy in this. So, you just kind of came in and we would do our voiceover sessions, and he was just a cool teacher. So it was kind of neat to find out about this twist. I mean, I'd kind of heard that might happen, but I didn't know for sure if it would. So it was really, really fun to play with that.
So we are really proud and happy to have Anna and Ashley for Max and Chloe. All the voice talents we've worked with were really involved. They've given something unique to those characters, and that's why it has worked also. It's because there is a part of their soul inside their character.
For Hannah, for Max, one of the hardest parts is that there is so many lines of inner voices. So it was really important for Hannah to give something great for those, and I think it was quite the case. And for Ashley, one of the really hard part is that there is and for Hannah too, there is a lot of really emotional scenes.
I really wanted to sell the moments, and I was putting pressure on myself to make certain moments, like with Rachel, lots of the moments that happen in episode 4. I really wanted them to feel real.
And I'm constantly on this roller coaster, so I had to figure out how to harness those feelings so that I could use them to illustrate what Max is going through.
I remember during the voice recording session, for example, for the scene where they are discovering Rachel's body, it was really hard, even just for myself, to listen to the scene, and they told me after that they were, both of them were really crying when they were recording this scene.
We knew already how we wanted to end each episode, but after we take a lot of time to discuss about how and to think about the editing and the framing, the layout of each scene.
The endings of each episode. That was something really important, of course, because it's an episodic game, so the ending is crucial if we want, of course, the player to enjoy the episode and to want to come back for the next episode. So I think we looked a lot at also what can be done in TV series, because with the episodic format we were kind of the same way. At the end of an episode, you want either to bring back some element of the story, so in order to hook the player, or we can use a cliffhanger. And I think that we did both of that, depending on the episode. And right now this is the ending for episode 2.
Here the episode 1 and episode 2 endings are not the same, but it's the idea behind was really to show all the characters of the games, all the main characters, and showing that there is maybe something more going on. Yeah. And in episode 1, for example, we even show some characters you haven't met already in episode 1, Joyce and Frank. And you will find them back here at the end of episode 2 in small scenes. And we really wanted those in episode 1 and 2, those ends to be like a wide description of all the characters and all what's going on, and also showing other aspects of each character. For example, seeing David on the with his head on the shoulder of Joyce, seeing Victoria and Nathan in Victoria's room, seeing the principal and Jefferson arguing. This is kind of small hints that maybe will push the player to want to see more.
Because this is basically the only moments where we are seeing those characters when Max is not seeing them.
Exactly.
And so we can just bring a bit more. We are not telling too much. We are just bringing a bit more on those characters, a bit of sort of mystery. And this goes with the idea that everybody might be hiding something or might be a bit different. Like Victoria here we can see her crying when clearly this was not the way her character would behave before. And having Nathan going into her room, we don't know what's happening between the two of them, but it's still bringing a bit of mystery and interest for the characters, for the player. When we worked on the cliffhangers for episodes 3 and 4, of course our goal was still to have a twist. We were really trying to go on with what was important for the story and not just having the shock factor.
Maybe just want to thank you for all the gifts, all the support we have from you.
Yes.
And thank you very much to be so active and so passionate about the game, and we're really happy to see that those characters and this story and those themes means something also for you. This is why we are doing games, so we're really happy, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really think that you are one of the best community we've seen for games.
I'm going to cry, Michel.
Yeah, and this community is really nice. I didn't see a lot of bad words. Sometimes can go easily wrong, and it was it's really pleasant to read and to read everything that the Life is Strange community has to say.